Well, welcome back to our web coverage here at world-challenge.com, as well as our new Pirelli World Challenge fan app for those of you that are watching along on your cell phones through the app. I'm Jeff Lepper, joined by Calvin Fish. We got Ryan Marine on pit lane, and Gino Carini will be covering pit lane for us. Feel bad by mentioning his name, but so far we've had a long day of racing here, Calvin, and 4 races, 1 more to go. 3, this will make 4 for our touring car category. It's been a nice full day of racing.
It really has. Beautiful weather, great racetrack, so it couldn't be better. And this last race of the day for us will be the touring car, coming off 2 rounds at Circuit of the Americas that were dominated by Vesko Kozarov, and he actually had fastest lap this morning in qualifying, but found to be just a little bit light on the front right height, just by a millimeter, but that's enough to put him at the back, so it should be a great show. Yeah,
rules are rules, and it's based by laser measuring now, so you can't really frub it, or not like a little tape measure, move the tape measure up or down. It's actually a nice laser measuring system. But we talk about the GT action that we opened the show with here this morning. A huge incident for Alvaro Parent in that Bentley Continental, and got news, I think, that car is done, so their weekend might be out.
Yeah, which is a big shame, because the K-Pax team have worked really hard this year. They've had a lot of damage with various occurrences in terms of testing and race events, and they had the pace here this weekend. Both cars qualified on the second row. Alvaro made a great start going inside his teammate, was running alongside Mike Skeen, and huge impact there coming off of turn 2. So their weekend is done with Parent's car, and it really hurts him in the championship, of course, both in Sprint X and overall.
But bittersweet as well with Rodrigo Baptista and Soule getting the win.
Yeah, massive. Rodrigo's a real talent, and when teamed up with one of the Bentley factory drivers, they're going to be a dominant force. And Baptista's learning the ropes pretty quickly, coming off multiple victories last year in our GTS division. And he's a man that we're probably going to hear a lot of in future years. He's a bright star and a quiet young man, but very confident, and does his talking behind the wheel, I think.
Well, they did get the overall win as a Pro-Am category, but sort of winning the war, so to speak. Tony Vilander, Miguel Molina, first place in the Pro category, but second overall in the series.
Yeah, it was big, because they qualified down in 6th. Tony wasn't, he was particularly frustrated after qualifying. Feels that with the balance of performance, the BOP as we call it, here this weekend, the Ferrari did lose a little bit of boost. And he said, we're struggling with that, but the team executed perfectly on the pit stop. They got 2 really strong drivers, and with circumstances, and obviously Parent out, and then Skeen getting a penalty, they end up runner-up. So big points, and that's what you have to do, even if you don't have the fastest cars, to get the big points. And like the top team owners always say, if you can't win, finish second. If you can't finish second, finish third or top 5, whatever it is. Maximize your day in terms of what it's going to give you on a particular weekend.
Looking at our GT Am category, Martin Fuentes continues his 5th win of the season, 3rd win in a row in the Sprint X category. He's had dominating seasons before, and he's on to a good start again. Yeah,
he's a man who wins a lot of races. Got a great team around him. He's very comfortable in a Ferrari, of course, and his teammate Cesar did a great job today in terms of starting. Martin finished it off, and he'll start the race tomorrow. Obviously, finishing driver today in all Sprint X competition, starts day 2. And, yeah, I won't be surprised to see him add to that tally tomorrow.
At least he's really hard to talk to in the pit lane, though, right?
Yeah, he's so boring.
He's so boring. Yeah. Of course, also one of the greatest personalities we have in Pirelli World Challenge, and is a really nice, fun guy. Going to our TCA race, the second race of the race that we saw so far. Good dominating performance by Ryan Eversley in that Honda Civic.
Yeah, it was a day that didn't start off great. Early laps in qualifying, went for a ride down in turn 1, suffered damage to the front end of that car, got it back out of the weeds, literally, and put the car on pole position. You know, obviously the most consistent threat is going to be from what were the championship leaders in terms of Brian Herder Autosport and the Hyundai team. They kind of played their cards the wrong way in terms of qualifying, in terms of electing to keep their drivers on pit lane for a few moments. Wilkins got a decent time in, qualified 3rd. Lewis was right at the back. And Eversley led with Wilkins right behind him. And then late in the going, Mark lost power and had to pull off. So that was a big blow to his championship season. Lewis had a great run from the back. Will start from pole tomorrow. It'll be a Hyundai 1-2 on the front row. If they can get Wilkins' car fixed, that's to be determined. But Eversley, big day for Honda, winning in globally as well in Hungary.
Absolutely. Not really sure what is going on with Wilkins' car. We'll get an update for that, everybody that's watching here tomorrow. In the TCA category, Tom O'Gorman pulled that early lead and stretched it over Eric Powell, and the battle really was for second until the end.
Yeah, I mean, O'Gorman was really backing up the end. I thought, well, is he managing? And then it looked like pretty desperate. A couple of sectors there. He was way off and, yeah, got close. Eric Powell had a great race. He was really in the thick of it. He had a lot of pressure all day long. Scored big points, but I'm sure when he saw Tomo coming back towards him that he was thinking about potential victory. But it wasn't to be. But it's going to be a championship battle, I think, between those two all season long.
Into our third race of the day, the GTS competition, 37 cars strong and led once again in the Pro-Am category, getting the win with that, making their debut in the 2018 championship. Trent Hinman, Alan Berdoshin in that Volt Racing Ford Mustang GT4. Superb drive from them just here getting track time.
Yeah, it really is. It's a good group. It's a solid team, and now they've got Mike Johnson kind of leading things there as the team manager. He's great with strategy and really knows what makes a team tick. Coming over from Stevenson Autosport, where he's run their programs amongst many other teams over the years. So he's really a great leader. Alan's done a great job in terms of his initiation with the sport, and when you're teamed up with someone like the young Trent Hinman, who's one of the best stars we have in sports cars right now, it's only a matter of time before they get that big win, and that happened here today. So, but tomorrow's going to be, there's a lot of fast cars in that field. I mean, Shimshak was really quick at the end of this race. It's going to be a GMG front row with Sofronis getting fastest time, and I think Colin Brown ended up with second fastest in the 04 car with George Kurtz, last year's GTSA championship winner. So it's a deep field, and expect an exciting race tomorrow.
We saw the BMWs fast. It was a 1-2-3 BMW finish in our GTS-AM category, led by Chris Omak and Toby Grahovic winning that category as we get set here for touring car action to round out our day. And some of the stories going in to this round is your pole sitter, Vesko Kozarov, the number 3 Nissan 370Z from Reardon Racing, had a huge incident here in the Thursday test session. That team had to get that car repaired, fixed. This is a Nissan track here at Virginia National Raceway. And pretty fortunate, there's a couple of Nissan 370Zs running around this track. So there's one sitting on jack stands over there. That's the old pace car here for VIR, getting parts off that. So kind of neat to go. Just about 3 minutes here until we get underway. So once again, just want to welcome everybody here to the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Virginia, presented by Audi Sport. I'm Jeff Lepper, joining here by Calvin Fish in the booth. We have Gino Carini down on pit lane to bring the action here as we get set for round number 3 of the Pirelli World Challenge touring car action. So starting on pole, it will be Johan Schwartz. He qualified second, but that penalty from Vesko Kozarov after the team gets that car fixed. Just a little bit lower on the ride height, 1 millimeter, but it is laser measured. So all the other cars are legal. You're off by only 1 mil. It still is a penalty, Calvin.
It is. The good news for us is I think it'll be quite the show. I saw Vesko. He's actually brought his onboard footage and said he actually ran over a curb and said that was what created the problem, but the stewards weren't buying it, and that means he's going to be coming through from the back of the pack. So it should be entertaining to watch his pace. He dominated things at Coda. He's obviously had a little bit rougher weekend so far here, but don't count him out. But it's a great opportunity with Tony Rivera not campaigning here this weekend for Johan Schwartz, who's third in points right now, to maybe leapfrog over both Kozarov and Rivera in the points. And he's a great competitor, and he'll start from the pole and put on quite a show at Coda. It was a great battle there for the final positions on certainly in the second race anyway. Starting
on the outside at number 91, classic BMW that see right there in the frame, Carl Whitmer. 4 different Whitmer brothers racing here in North America. And Carl, this car loaned to him by Darren Jorgensen. So I want to give a huge thank you to Darren Jorgensen. He had a huge incident at Circuit of the Americas. They actually wrote the car off. It didn't look that bad. Got a hit in the driver door. And we saw at the Circuit of the Americas broadcast, the crew was worried about his left hand and arm and elbow during that incident. So you know how big the hit was. But that car got written off. And Darren, unfortunately, not able to make the race here this weekend. The car was available, so and Carl starting on that front row, helping repay the favor, so to speak, for Jorgensen, giving him that car to use here this weekend. Jason Clooney was scheduled to drive that car, and Carl is behind the wheel now. But good run from Jeff Rika in that Gen Racer, the Genesis Coupe. He starts in the 3rd position. On the outside of the 2nd row will be from Matt Travis, another one of those classic BMWs from the Woodlands, Texas. And you got to go back to Steve Streamer, starting in the 5th position in the Nissan 370Z from Tech Sport Racing, one of the first Nissan 370Zs here, but 4-3 Nissan strong. And we talk about Tony Rivera, that detached retina, missing him a little bit here this weekend, not having him at the track.
Yeah, he's always been a leading light for that camp. So 3 Nissans in the field, 8 BMWs. The M235 IR has certainly been a great charge for all of these guys to have. 2 Genesis and 1 Honda, which actually showed tremendous pace here when Tom O'Gorman, I believe, did a few laps in it on the Thursday practice day, and I think he led the charts there. So that car has a lot of pace.
Yeah, led the standings there. That car built by Honda Manufacturing, Alabama. Not built by them, but all volunteer crew. Joshua Foran gets a chance to drive the car as the command has been given to start engines in our TC category. 14 cars set to take the green flag here. We might have had a late addition with car 58. So we could have as many as 16 here. We'll see how the line plays out as we get ready for a 40-minute race. Green flag to checkered flag, all-timed event. This will be a rolling start today, a standing start tomorrow, all led by that Audi RS5 pace car. We'll have our Audi Q7 medical vehicle that'll pace the field behind to make sure nothing happens on one of the first laps, and we can respond immediately as the field rolling off here underway. There's a good shot of Vesco Kozarov and his teammate Paul Terry in the second of the Reardon Racing Nissan 370Zs. No stranger to problems here this weekend as well. 2 incidents in turn 1. And if you're going to do something right and do it over again, you do it in the exact same place. Hit the exact same tire bundle in the second session. So, hey, anything we're doing right. But he's got damage to his Nissan 370Z. The good news, talking with Vesco earlier, was it was all cosmetic. Really not a lot of mechanical stuff was broke on these cars. So they look rough. Still, hopefully, going to be pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, the team has been working hard to get the cars back in some sort of shape. As you said, they're not the prettiest cars on the grid in terms of the body work, but hopefully all of the wheels are pointed in the right direction and they'll have no mechanical drama throughout the course of this 40-minute race. But it's quite amazing to have the same problem in exactly the same spot on the racetrack down into turn 1. But it was treacherous in these early practice and test session days. A lot of rain here, grass was extremely wet in the nature of this racetrack. It is old school, it's so much fun to drive, particularly up here through the S's, but if you drop a wheel or go off track, you're literally along for the ride on the wet grass, and that's what caught a lot of our competitors out this weekend, as we see Vesco just trying to drop back a little bit and get a feel for his car here before the off.
See these warming up these Pirelli P0 tires as some of the other notables in the series making their debut in the Pirelli World Challenge Championship in the second of those Gen Racer the Genesis Coupes. Jason Stanley, Mark Brumman, he returns to that Auto Technique racing team. Sean Quinlan ran with Stephen Cameron Racing at Circuit of the Americas. He makes his third start of the season. Henry Schmidt will start in 12th in that Steve Cameron Racing BMW of San Francisco M235i Racing. One of those drivers doing double duty and did pretty dang good in the GTS race.
Had a podium run there with Gregory Lafuge, so he's on a high. It's tough. It's tough to jump between different cars and BMW brand, of course, but different platform from the M4 over to this M235IR. But I'm sure he's had enough experience now between the various sessions throughout the course of the weekend to know what he needs to do a little bit differently in this car and not make a mistake thinking he's in the other one.
Well, CJ Lett also making his debut here in Pirelli World Challenge. So not sure where Steve Bottom is. Unfortunately, I thought I saw him down there on pre-grid. I know they were talking to the team. I think he has to start from pit lane. So Steve Bottom in that Sonic Nissan 370Z has to start from pit lane because he would not even attempt to make a qualifying pass. Had fuel problems and fuel pressure problems, so I had to go drive around the whole area here trying to find the parts that he needed, where when they were putting that system together on his car, it broke the stock fuel pump fitting. So they got that car fixed, and we'll see him start from pit lane here a little bit later after the green flag is telling the drivers to pair up. No more weaving as we get set to go green for touring car round number 3 for the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Virginia, presented by Audi Sport.
Well, there were just 2 tenths between these two guys on the front row in qualifying. Let's see what happens as we get in a green flag competition. Johann Schwartz on the pole. On the outside, they take the left lane on the approach to turn 1.
Waiting for that green flag to air down here on the front stretch. It's a little bit further down, but everybody piling up. A nice slow start from Johann Schwartz. He's waiting for that green, and there he goes as he accelerates. It is a green flag, and boy, Carl Whitmer was sleeping at the line, Calvin.
He was. He really caught him napping there, or maybe just didn't have it in the right rev range. But either way, it looks like Jeff Rieker has now moved that Genesis up to the second position as Whitmer tries to recover and dive down the inside to capture third.
Whitmer trying everything he can do to stay there third. Strimmer to the outside, getting a great run, starting in fifth, trying to see if he can move up into third here on the first lap. And he's actually going to get shuffled back to fifth.
Yeah, it's just a twisty part and section of the racetrack. You have to be so careful, particularly on relatively cold tires, and give each other a little bit of racing room. We saw that earlier in the day in the GT competition with contact early. And the results that you can see, there was major damage for Alvaro Brent. Everyone's settling in nicely. Schwartz has got a nice gap here. He can really just hit his marks now, not have to defend, and try and lay down a good opening lap here. Very nice cushion.
Yeah, got a good run for him. And on that start, as they're trying to work their way, get up to speed here, get in line, try to get their marks, get their Pirelli P0s. And once again, I just love that camera shot, seeing the cars get airborne up over that first S. And got a text message a little bit earlier from Karen Schwartz, Johann's wife, and she's always great at letting me know how many of the West Virginia University people we got coming out here this weekend. So great to have the engineering staff come out and help Johann Schwartz in that M235i here, part of the Formula SAE team. So they have one of their own little race cars that they autocross and engineer themselves, and get to see what professional racing is all about when they come here to Virginia International Raceway.
It's great to have that support from them in terms of their enthusiasm, and they can be taught exactly what goes on within a race team as well. See a little bit of a battle for position for the back in the pack here. 23 car, Terry mentioned that there was 2 offs in turn 1, so he's just trying to keep it clean here and survive the rest of the weekend.
Number 75, Jason Stanley, and that Gen Racer Genesis, right behind Paul Terry. And Vesko Kozarov has worked his way all the way up through that field now. He's probably up, I believe, in the 8th position already. So good start from him as he's getting that Nissan 370Z up to speed. Yeah,
he's passed a handful of cars already, so you just got to be patient. The race can come back to him, but don't take any chances. He is the championship leader. Look at the power of that Genesis down the front straightaway coming back at Terry, but can't quite get the position as Vesko now looks to the inside. Side by side through one, a little tight there.
Paul Terry got a little sideways there, pulling down to the inside. Turn 1 has been his nemesis here, and I think you saw Vesko trying to get a run down through Stanley to get on the inside of him. Had to check up a little bit when his teammate got sideways there.
Yeah, he did. You can see there, we talk about track limits quite often at race circuits. They're going to give them pretty much free rein here this weekend. So through turn 3 there on the exit before turn 4, you're allowed to use all of that curb, so way off the racetrack these guys can run. Everyone's settling in, so it's been a nice opening couple of laps here for Vesko Kozarov, our championship leader.
You see the damage there, the different rear bumper that he has to the back of that car. Just hit an edge of the wall in turn number 3 where there was just no tire bundles, solid K-rail, just a straight-on shot. Bent the back of the car up. No suspension damage once again, just all cosmetic on that Nissan 370Z as he's trying to work his way around Stanley here, running that back bumper, and he's already got some debris on the front grille of that Nissan.
I think the key for Vesko is just to really keep it clean. Don't get involved, don't have any avoidable contact calls on you, which will really ruin your day and drive you down pit lane. He's just got to pick them off one by one. Certainly it's going to be hard to catch Johann Schwartz. He's got a nice lead right now, and he's got a lot more cars to get through, but maybe there'll be a reset with a caution possibly, and Vesko could go for a podium or win a bit later in this race.
Jeff Rieker doing a superb job staying in second place there, challenging from Carl Whitmer, trying to see if he can get his way around and battle with Johann Schwartz. Matt Travis has been superb here today as well, back in 4th place in that classic BMW. The 2 teammates there, kind of identical cars, you know? Can't really tell who's who.
I know. Certainly our teammates, and he's having a great run.
Carl goes to a little bit of a defense mode down there in turn number 1. Comes to the outside. Matt Travis, based out in the Woodlands, Texas. Second season in Pirelli World Challenge competition.
Everyone's settling in here. Schwartz looking comfortable up front. Rieker's having a really nice run. He talks about that turbo really coming to life in the cool air. It's relatively warm here today, sort of mid to high 70s right now. It's supposed to be a little bit cooler tomorrow, where he could be even in better shape.
Well, that tremendous start that Johann got there on the green flag. Gino Carini is down with the crew chief of that number 80 BMW.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, we're down here with the crew chief for Johann Schwartz, Eric Meyer. Eric, the start was unbelievable for Johann. Did he say anything afterwards?
No, he stayed quiet. You know, we're more concerned about turn one and there being a big bunch up of cars into turn one. So we have a spotter running up on the tower so we can see what's going on into turn one. That was our biggest concern on the start.
Excellent. And what do you think Johann's biggest concerns are this weekend with this race in particular?
So, of course, you know, the last race, the Nissan was always fast, but I think the BOP might have been the right call. So, you know, the biggest concern was making sure that we could, you know, get some points back, being tied for seconds in points right now with the Nissan in front. So we're just trying to even up the field.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time, Eric.
Well, look at this battle. Whitmer really for a way through, takes it deep on the brakes into the roller coaster. It takes away second position from Jeff Rika.
Yeah, you got to think he saw some of those races a little bit earlier with some of our other competitors doing that in the different classes, trying to make those moves and making them stick. If you can get to the outside in that quick little kink that puts you on the inside for the right-hander coming down the hill.
Watch this Genesis, though. It seems really strong in the middle part of this straightaway. Drafting up on him. Here comes Kozarov looking for another position as he moves around Nimkov. That's for sixth position, I believe.
You see Nimkov in that number 20 Auto Technique BMW. Steve Streamer to the outside there as they come through, battling for that fifth and overall position. As one of the slower cars, the Auto Techniques car, I believe, the 02 Mark Brumman, or has he worked his way up there? I'm not sure. Oh, no, Brumman's worked his way up there as well, so pretty good there. As we're looking at the 02 car is our best start, so he's actually done really good, moving up 2 positions on that first lap, earning our Optima Battery Best Start of the Race award.
I think I was mistaken there as Streamer, not Kozarov. We were looking at the position.
Yeah, there's
Kozarov still a little
back.
bit further back in the 8th position.
Well, Nissan does such a great job of making these cars look alike. I know Rick Kulak, not here this weekend from Nissan Motorsports. He's probably watching the live stream there based out in Tennessee, so appreciate Rick Kulak tuning in and watching live here. And of course, this is a Nissan track here at Virginia International Raceway. It's got a few Nissans competing this weekend.
There's Brumman now. Looking nice, neat and tidy there, having a good run here today. Just another corner there, turn 12, Oak Tree coming off there. You're allowed to use all of that curving as well. We're going to have to protect a little bit. Yeah. I hate track limits, so it's nice to come from an old school racetrack and basically those go away here.
It was neat talking to Andy Pilgrim a little bit earlier after the GT race, and he mentioned that he thinks this place is just a lot like Nürburgring, a lot of hilly turns, off camber, blind entrances and apexes, and it's really narrow.
Yeah, and Miguel Molina, who finished second for Ferrari Motorsports, making his first trip here, said it reminds him of Zandvoort Classic circuit in Holland. So everyone who comes here just really loves the vibe and loves the feel of this racetrack.
Well, you see Carl Whitmer there in his classic BMW. Gino Creaney is caught up with the crew chief.
I'm here with Alex Perry, the crew chief of the 91 car of Carl Whitmer. Seems to have had a little bit of a slow start, but seems to be staying with the pack and moving through there nicely. Alex?
Yeah, we got Carl was a little down on the start, but him and Matt are going to work together. They're currently second and fourth, and hopefully they can slowly catch Johann and give him something for the end of the race. Hopefully we can have a nice two cars on the podium today.
I know that would be extremely nice to have 2 cars on the podium and very probable. Do you have any fear of this Nissan coming through the pack? Vesco is coming through hard.
You know, the Nissan's got a lot of speed here, and so does the Honda, but hopefully we can hold them off for the whole race and see what we got at the end of the race.
Nimkov made a really nice move there into turn 5. His brave move made it stick, so he's moved up in position. He's now up in at the 4th spot.
They got around Travis there. That big move down there in turn number 5. As Jeff Rika does not want to give anything away here to Carl Whitmer. If he can stay on that back bumper and those 2 guys, instead of having his teammate Matt Travis behind Whitmer, maybe Rika and himself can team up, try to run down Johann a little bit. Johann owns the record for the world's longest drift. If you haven't had a chance yet to go to YouTube and view it, you can just type it in for the world's longest drift. It's got a little over 30 million views in his BMW M5. They actually had to build a special apparatus to refuel the car mid-drift to get it to run. It's a pretty cool deal, and just want to give a huge shout out to shopbmwusa.com for you can get your swag for that world's longest drift there on that race car, as well as all the BMW merchandise and parts, everything else through that. But it's a pretty cool video. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to go check it out.
Rika's really keeping that pressure on Nick Whitmer for that second position, not letting him go anywhere. Notice the car was understeering a little bit coming off the Rd.3, so hopefully the tires won't go away on him. And really impressive young man. Well, I say young, he's 35 years old now, but started racing in 2007, NASCAR and club racing, but been running with this brand since 13 and doing a great job here today, currently in a podium spot. You can see there just really wide, so I'm not sure if he's running those front tires off as the race progresses.
Yeah, got really deep there in the turn number 1. You saw the rear end dancing as he looked all over the ABS, trying to see if he can get around Whitmer, as he got himself a little bit of a gap now back to Nemcoff. He's going to start pressuring Whitmer maybe a little bit. If his car's faster, you're going to want to get around that guy, Cal, and thinking that you can try to run down those race leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, what I don't know, and what I'm thinking about is who's managing this race the best. Johann Schwartz has the lead by about 3 1/4 seconds right now. Is he managing his pace at the front? And how about Vesko Kozrov? He's not cutting through this field at the rate that I thought he was, but maybe he's just being super smart. He's a real savvy guy, and maybe just taking his time and realizing, listen, I can get up there on the podium by the end of this 40. Oh, look at this. Whitmer really wide there through the climbing S's there, and loses that position to Rika.
Yeah, that's a dangerous spot there, and it'll really wake you up if you just miss that turn. It's a blind entrance to the left coming down the hill, and if you miss that turn-in point, that's exactly what happens. It just shoots you right off, and good recovery from Whitmer to minimize the damage in the off that he had. As you can see the gap to Johann Schwartz, and then back to second with Jeff Rika. Carl Whitmer able to salvage. The streamer is working his way through the field now as he goes right around Nemcoff on the straightaway. Good run for him in that Tech Sport Racing Nissan.
Yeah, really nice run. Showing a lot of pace. Car looks like it's handling well. It's hooked up, so he's gradually picking off those positions.
Spoke with Deborah Papalozzi, the team principal there at Tech Sport Racing. She's assisted by her husband, Kevin Anderson, helping out 6 cars strong here this weekend. And
but she's in charge.
Busy times. She is in charge. Don't forget that. But they're such a great family. They have their son, daughter comes out, all volunteer crew staff, prepping 5 Subaru BRZs and this Nissan 370Z for Steve Strymer. And boy, I tell you what, that's just what a great family here, and that's what Pirelli World Challenge, especially the touring car ranks, is all about.
Yeah, it's a big effort to run a multi-car operation, and we're teasing right now, but it's really a neat pairing they have as that family operation.
Okay, talk about family operations. One of the longtime competitors here in Pirelli World Challenge competition, Laura Tallman, who runs that Reardon Racing team, previously the Skullcandy team. I think Gino's down there with them.
I am. I'm actually here with Laura Tallman, the team owner for Reardon Racing, and we just discussed briefly how Vesko is making a move from the back of the pack all the way to the front of the pack. Laura, what do you think? How's he looking out there?
I'm just thankful that he avoided any early on carnage, which is always a risk sitting at the back of the pack, and he's made it up to a decent place. We'll see what he can do. He needs to conserve tires.
Absolutely. So we talked about often tire retention and saving tires here. Is that, do you think, the biggest thing that you guys have to worry about here?
If it stays green the whole race, that's certainly going to be a factor at the end of the race, for sure.
Well, great. Thank you for your time, Laura. Good luck to you guys.
He just set his fastest lap of the race at a 2:02.834, which is marginally quicker than our leader, Johann Schwartz's fastest lap. The fastest lap right now is by Drummond at 2:02.652, the 02 car sitting in the 7th position.
Yeah, Martin putting a lap down there, and the field is really tight at 2:02.6 for Brumman, 2:02.8 for Kozarov, 2:02.8 for Johann, 2:02.9 for Nemcoff. Really a tight field as we see if it stands the way that it is now. As we see the fuel load start to get off, you get a little bit of a gap. You may catch a good draft from somebody. You might be able to make a little bit of a faster lap, but it's going to be a tight second race on this hole. We talk about the BOP and did not see Steve Bottom come out. I know that Prix was talking about him getting suited up and getting out there, so hopefully there's nothing else wrong with the car, unfortunately, but Steve Bottom not able to make the race in that Sonic Nissan 370Z.
I think it's been a couple of years in sort of gestation in terms of having that injury here this weekend. I know he's pretty excited the other night we bumped into him as he was going for dinner that he was here this weekend. So shame they've had some problems here, which is that they haven't started today's race.
Well, he spent 2 years working on getting crew here and everything like that as well. And of course, his crew, his wife Susan, that's about it. So it's just him and Susan. And he, like I said, he has spent all day today just running around looking for parts. So awesome, and hats off to him even to be here this weekend. And hopefully we'll see him back here in race number 2. And Kazarov able to get around the number 02, Mark Brumman, that fastest race lap of this holder. As the previous time was his quickest lap. We'll see if he does that. He dropped a couple wheels off on the exit of turn number 12 the previous lap into the dirt, so I think he knows that my car's okay now. I'm starting to get a feel for it. I've conserved here for not quite halfway. We're almost to that. Maybe now it's go time.
Yeah, I think so. He's got a nice little gap in front of him, so this will be representative of what he truly has. But look at Brumman there. That BMW this weekend just looks super strong. Really rose a lot of speed through turn 11, just rolling apex speed. Really closed in and Kazarov through that sector. I think Lara spoke wisely about the tire degradation issue. You just can't afford, if these races go green flag for 40 minutes, you got to really have some tires underneath you for the end. But it's go time as championship leader has seen Johann Schwartz continue to lead up front, and he can't afford to be too deep in the pack at the end of this one, otherwise his championship lead will be in jeopardy.
Looking at Robert Nemkov, that Auto Technique team, 2 cars strong here this weekend, and they made their debut here in the Pirelli World Challenge Championship last season, and good to see them able to continue running that 2-car strong program. Steve Strammer is lapping about 2 to 3 tenths consistently quicker than Whitmer as he's closing in down here to turn number 1, Cal.
Yeah, he's really making a charge right now. So Whitmer's had quite the battle on his hands all day long. It's certainly not been a routine race for him, as he's been in various battles throughout the course of this day. Kazarov just had a clear lap, but only in the mid-3 range, so either he's managing it intently or he just doesn't have the pace in that car today, which surprises me for the guy who did lay down the fastest qualifying time this morning, admittedly getting pushed to the back after a slight ride-high infraction with the car.
Yeah, not going to knock on him, but 1 millimeter difference, probably not that much of a performance advantage. But like you said, the rules are rules, and if everybody else measures correctly and yours does not, it's a violation, and it's takes that human element out, being laser measured here. But Matt Travis pressuring Robert Nemkov now as he's trying to recover from that incident where Nemkov stuck it in on him on the turn 5 and made that pass. Matt Travis looking to see if he can recover and get back around Nemkov, because there's still a battle for the overall podium here. Whitmer has it, Schwimmer right behind him, Nemkov and Travis, so 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th as you see them on your screen.
I think the fact that Kazarov isn't able to just drive through this field really makes a statement about the quality of the field this year. I mean, there are no easy pickings all the way through, and there's been some great battles here today, and it's how it should be. If you suddenly get forced to the back of the pack, it's not just an immediate podium. It's not routine by any stretch. You've got to work hard and really work a strategy in terms of managing those tires for this 40-minute race to get back to the front.
Dropping a couple wheels off there, the dust cloud there as Steve Schwimmer gets around Whitmer, moves into 3rd place in a podium spot.
The car has been a bit of a yo-yo today in terms of track position so far, but still a long way to go. It won't be long before Kazarov and company do join this battle. There could be a concertina effect here, and everyone suddenly ends up in a big pack racing for that position.
Yeah, not quite to halfway. You see Nemkov protecting down to the inside of turn number 1. A quick little lockup. Not sure who that came from.
Streamer, I believe. 23 Nissan.
Gotta be. Car does have ABS, so one of those, maybe that wheel just unloaded there on the exit or the entrance there when you turn in and put the weight down on the car.
There's Kazarov, and he's going to like what he's seeing, that little battle up front from second on back is kind of coming back towards him a little bit. He'd love to get in that mix as Schwartz up front now has stretched that lead to 4.4 seconds. Just running really consistent lap times, and just like when you lead a Formula 1 Grand Prix, you don't get a lot of attention because you're making it boring up front.
Boy, when you got 2nd through 7th now with Kazarov starting to close in, battling for that as Jeff Rika has fallen back into the clutches of Steve Strammer and Carl Whitmer. Nemcoff has his own little battle with Travis there, and here comes Vesko Kozarov in that rear-end Nissan Nismo 370Z.
And he is canny, he really is, and it doesn't surprise me to see him gradually ease towards this pack and being at the halfway point. He's in with a shot. I mean, I think if you said, listen, you know, halfway through this race, you're only going to be less than 4 seconds out of second position, it'd probably be okay with that.
Yeah, not bad at all. Well, we don't know about Vesko. He doesn't smile very much. We'll have to see it. I said that at COTA when he won both races. I asked Gino, I said, see if you can get Vesko to smile. But he had a big old grin on his face getting those double race wins. I know it's very unorthodox for Vesko to make a mistake, like he said, but came down and got a chance to talk to him. He said, yeah, just simply made a mistake. He said the same thing. I usually don't do that, so I guess I was due for one. He hasn't had one in a little while. Jeff Rica ran a little bit wide there on that downhill, the hog pin, so to speak. That's where a hog pin was when they resurrected this track, and he's going to drop all the way back to 6th place.
Yeah, look at this. These guys, car train there, and then Kozarov is going to be joining this mix shortly.
Yeah, 2nd to 6th. In one corner, you drop a couple wheels off. That's how tight touring car races is here in Pirelli World Challenge. The streamer still got around Whitmer, but now Whitmer's starting to come back again.
Yeah, I mean, he's just fighting hard for every position out there, but everyone seems to have pace in different spots around this racetrack. It's pretty cool with the different brands running. Oh, Vesko looks to the inside there. It's probably not a good opportunity to make a move. We saw Nemcoff do it a little bit earlier in the race, so see how Rica's tires are doing. We noticed him get a little bit wide a couple of times here today. Let's take another look here, whether he hits the curb or not. No, just missed the apex a little bit, runs out wide, and then you're just trying to keep it together and survive at that point.
He was on the curb a little bit earlier on the left-hander there. I'm not sure if that unsettled the car, and he had to wait for it to settle to get back to the right a little bit, but definitely just made a little bit of a mistake. And 2nd to 6th, and then Kozarov right on the back bumper now as he's going to try to make that move quickly. As it looks like the 0-2 Brumman still set that fastest race lap, but it's fallen back to 8th now.
Maybe the pole sitter for tomorrow, unless someone can pull a rabbit out of the hat here with just under 18 minutes to go. Big draft there with 26 car at Travis on Nemcoff down the back straightaway. Trying to jockey for position as you come up and over the crest of the hill down towards the brake zone for the roller coaster.
Matt Travis going to look back to the outside. Nemcoff protecting that inside for that left-hander. I think Travis, if he was to draft and go to the right, he might have a little bit of advantage there on the hard right-hander before you hit down to the downhill in the roller coaster and then into Hogpen. I like the names of the corners.
Yeah,
but it's cool that VIR earns it. I like how it's all the corners are earned here. We go to Utah Motorsports Campus a little bit later, and those corners were all named when that track was built. And I just I think you got to get your personality first on the course before you get a chance to name corners.
Right. Well, up front, Schwartz has a 5.5 second lead. So here we're looking at Johan. Been all by himself all day long after a brilliant start from pole position that he assumed after Vesko's technical infraction. And that's the gap back to Stream, who runs in that 2nd spot now.
Like how Johan wears those green gloves too, so you can really see it through the windshield how much he's working that wheel, and he was perfectly planted there through the exit of turn 2 and into turn number 3. No sawing at the wheel as well. We saw the incident a little bit, not incident, but Jeff Rica driving off course a little bit. Gino Carini down in his pit spot.
Hey Jeff, I am with Mike Souza, the crew chief for Jeff Rica. We found out that Jeff is having a little bit of an issue out there. What do you think it is?
Yeah, he dropped back a little bit. There may have been just a little bit of a sensor issue, but he's working his way back up. We're continuing on.
And I noticed it myself because Jeff, I know, is one of the most consistent drivers out there. The car's really reliable. What do you think the prognosis is for the rest of the race?
He's going to keep pushing. He's going to keep pushing. He's a really good racer, and he'll work his way back up.
I couldn't agree with you more. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Gino. He does a lot of builds on cars, too. He does roll cages as Vesko goes down to the inside. Now gets a run on the draft over Jeff Rica, trying to make that move down here into turn number 13.
Yeah, and he's on the right side of the road, even if he can just hold him there, even station. No, he has to give it up. Really late on the brakes by Jeff Rica if he can keep it together. That's good, hard battling there. Really nice job by Jeff Rika keeping Kozarov at bay. I thought Kozarov was in the prime seat there in terms of having the left-hand lane as they head into the roller coaster, which gives you the position for the second of those turns. Just a good conservative approach, I feel, from our championship leader, starting at the back, keep talking about it, but he's not pushing it. He's not taking any chances, not getting into his current or position where he'll have some contact and draw a penalty. It's tough to be that patient when you're coming from the back with a very fast car.
It is. You see that Genesis Coupe dancing a little bit there on the edge down into that braking zone. A little bit wide there for Nemkov as Travis tried to see if he can make a move. Went back over, back under again. Did he make the pass stick? And he does. Matt Travis gets around Nemkov. Now, how much did that slow him up? Vesco looking to the inside of Rika. Does he make the pass? I believe he does. Nope, they're still side-by-side, Cal.
Rika doesn't want to give it up. This is a great battle here for what is the 6th position right now, and Rika maintains that spot.
Now that group of 4 is pulled away from Jeff Rika and Vesco and Mark Drummond back on the back bumper of this 2-car battle.
I think Vesco is finally getting a little bit impatient. He's recognizing that this little battle is really hurting his cause in terms of the rest of the pack getting away from them. So, even if he gets by Rika, time is running out in terms of gaining any more positions. And look right behind him, Brumman's right there as well, who still has the race's fastest lap at a 2:02.6. Oh, Rika's wide, really wide.
Oh, wow, Nemkov ran off wide too. So not sure if there might have been something down there on the track, or it was just that you know, laser focus. You see the car running off the track and you do the same thing, but Nemkov ran off course and got word from race control to 78, getting a warning for blocking, move in response. You know, Cal, explain to our viewers kind of what they're talking about on the rule set here.
Well, it's basically you're allowed to pick your own line, but you need to do it first. So if someone starts to make a move on you, you can't suddenly take that piece or that lane of the road away from you. So you need to be proactive, not reactive to someone attempting to get by you. So Vesco's obviously a man in a hurry right now, and they feel that Rika's been a bit too aggressive in defending that position.
Oh, he tried to go look for the over-under and got a little bit loose there coming down the downhill.
The good news is that with Nemkov's little moment, it has promoted Kozarov up another position.
Yeah, he goes up to 6th. Nemkov back to 8th. That car does not look happy on that Genesis Coupe down there, turn number 1, but he does it consistently lap after lap, stepping it out just a little bit.
Had a lot of engine issues last year with that motor, and we got a new vented hood, which helps it keep it a little bit cooler. And there's not extreme heat here today. Obviously, they're concerned about when we get to some of the hotter races how it's going to perform there, but they seem to have managed that heat issue with the Genesis Coupes. Oh, Paul Terry in the wars again. You can see all the damage to the left side. That's not from a moment he just had. That's from some of the incidents earlier in the weekend.
Down in turn number 1 again. So see if we can get a replay and see exactly what happens. It's Vesco Kozarov side by side with Rika. He's able to finally make the move and get around him, and does it on the outside in the climbing S's. Not normally where you would make a pass, so I think he kind of got Rika off guard a little bit.
Yeah, and Rika's dropped back quite a bit all of a sudden, so I'm not sure if he just got wide, got out the marbles, got some dirt on his tires, and there you see us really dancing around there. He's really having to hang on to that race car, so Kozarov now up into the top 5.
Yeah, the handling's gone off on that Genesis Coupe as the 0-2 goes bouncing down on the exit of turn number 12 onto the straightaway. Not the fast way through, as he's with his teammate side by side. Tuck in there and kind of protect a little bit with Matt Travis.
Quinlan's got a run on both of them. May try and have an attack here as we get into the brake zone.
Quinlan gave it a look in that Steve Cameron Racing BMW. I think 3 cars strong here for Steve Cameron, 1 in the GTS category and 2 in the M235i, the touring car. This platform, this M235i Racing Classic BMW, Toby Grahovic brought this car over with our pit lane reporter Gino Carini, campaigning those cars as well, and it's been nothing short of superb. I think 26 cars here last year set a record for those cars being raced globally right here in Pirelli World Challenge.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and Victor Laloux, the BMW Motorsports manager, He's really done a great job in getting the word out, and with his support team, everyone's done a great job. They have Colin Harmer now here as one of the engineers, just really working and liaising with all of the customer teams. It's a great program with a lot of support.
So Steve Streamer is still ahead of Carl Whitmer, but Carl Whitmer has not given up, and Matt Travis, once he got around Nimkoff and had those problems, he's able to close back in on his teammates. So now that strategy where the two teammates were going to work together and play along nicely, that might be able to be executed here in the later stages of the race with only 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, we're getting down to the wire here, so if you got anything left to play, let's show your hand right now.
And Vesko Kozarov, unfortunately, is about 5 seconds behind this battle, and they're not lapping that much quicker than Vesko. The previous lap, they were actually quicker by about 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, I think unless there's some argy-bargy between this trio, I think maybe top 5 is all Vesko can grab here, unless there's something dramatic happen in the final stages of this race. So pretty strong day. 14-car field coming from the back up into the top 5, but Johann Schwartz will make a big day here in terms of leaping up in the points.
Huge incident right there in the S's for Paul Terry, unfortunately, as you can see the damage that he continues to add to that Nissan 370Z. He's just trying to get it cleared now. Let's take a little quick replay here to see what happened.
Just wide, just drops a wheel and there's nowhere to go. It's so tight there, just very little runoff if you make a mistake. So one of the Bentley boys, Andy Suchek, do a similar move the other day.
Looks like Paul Terry able to get that car cleared though, but we do go full course yellow. It's going to tighten everything back up, Cal.
Yeah.
That changes everything, doesn't it?
Johann is suddenly going to have some pressure from behind, but I think the key is, did he manage those tires, even with the lead, as he kept a little something left in those Pirelli P0s to fight off an attack at the end of this race. And Ken Kozarov suddenly with that 5-second gap, as you mentioned just a short while ago, to the next positions in line. Can he go on the attack here and maybe potentially jump onto the podium?
So Paul Terry pulled that car away, so that's good news. And that Paul Terry Trucking Rd.3 Racing Nissan 370Z, that team's going to have another sleepless night to get that car repaired, but Rd.3 Racing prepared to do that. You see our Audi RS5 pace car being driven by Mikey Taylor, working its way through the field to catch our leader, Johann Schwartz. Yeah, now the key is, does Vesko have anything as well, you know? So we'll see. It's going to be anybody's ball game now, and with this closing minutes in this race, 7.5. Looks like Mark Brumman's race battle fastest lap at a 2:02.652 might stand here starting from P1 tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good news for him, right? So today in all sprint, there's some guys in the mid-2s. So look at this Streamer, just his last lap was a 2:02.68, so it's only 300ths off the fastest time. So that 23 certainly has a lot of pace in the late going here.
Looks like he's a little consistent there too. 2:02.681 is his best. 2:02.682 was his last lap.
Yeah,
1,000th of a second difference.
That's amazing. That's a really strong run for that car.
Yeah, here's kind of been an eventful day for Paul Terry. Gets a little sideways there in turn number 1. That corner's really been his nemesis all weekend long as he's trying to get back underway there on the exit of turn number 1 as he spun. Had some 2 earlier incidences, and then this big incident that he had here coming up through the S's, and they'll get the safety crews out here, try to get him cleared off as quickly as possible to get back underway.
Time is dwindling. Tough to get this cleaned up.
Yeah, I think if they can just, the car did roll forward, so if they can just hook it up to the front instead of the rollback and get him just cleared, we should be able to get back underway again. But looks like they are going to pull that car up onto the rollback. There's really not a gap in the wall there all the way through the S's, so it should be, hopefully, get that car pulled off quickly.
Looks like they're trying to hustle.
Back underway.
I don't think there was a ton of tire damage to the tire wall, that is.
That's usually half the cleanup time is repairing the walls, especially when there's tire bundles.
Beautiful day for racing. Couldn't ask for better.
That new turbocharged Honda Civic Type R. Joshua Foreign running that car. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Tom O'Gorman got behind the wheel in the test day and set the fastest lap. So we know the car has the potential. The team will get some changes made to that car and get up to speed. But that West Virginia University Beamer World supporting that Rooster Hall Racing car. That was the car that I believe Anthony Maganoli ran last year with Rooster Hall Racing, and he's been at a racetrack coaching along some of the drivers as well, spotting for Johan, I believe. So still a good part of that Rooster Hall Racing team.
5 minutes to go here. They're just starting to get that car in position to get up on the flatbed. They can get it hooked up and just pull it out of the way. There's not many laps to go. I'm sure they don't want to get it back to pit lane, just to get it into a safe haven around this race circuit. Maybe we can get green-white checker.
See our Audi Q7 pace car, the medical vehicle right behind the field there, working its way up. Want to give a huge thank you to Audi Sport, all the support they give to Pirelli World Challenge, including our pace car and safety car here this weekend, as well as the different cars they have now. 3 different versions of Audi customer support racing categories, with the Audi R8 LMS GT3 and the Audi R8 LMS GT4 and the Audi RS3 LMS that you see in the TCR category. Big support, big activations here. You can come check out that brand new RS5 Sportback. So if you're looking for a new car, Calvin, RS5 Sportback, not too bad of a looking car over there either.
I'm an Audi owner already, so certainly appreciate the brand, but great to see their support for the event. Big hospitality suite here this weekend, and lots of guests and people having fun and enjoying the racing.
Had Pirelli World Challenge competitor, now part of the Audi Sport Customer Racing program, was the director there. Tristan Herbert gave the command to start our race. So it's all around here. I saw Brad Kettler walking around, Anthony Sattler here. A lot of things. They get the car up on the rollback. There's 3.5 minutes, so the pace car is going pretty slow. So hopefully get back on that backstretch before they get down to turn number 13. They could turn those pace car lights off on the backstretch. We should be able to hopefully go green.
Yeah, he really needs to slow it down, because there's not enough time to not get green by this point and get back around in time to have another crack at going green. So it's either slow it down or go race pace to get one more go at it.
Waiting to get a word from race control on what we're going to do here.
Johan Schwartz, and there we see the car moving. That's good news. Could be going green here. There is a chance. Everyone better get back up on the wheel, get those tires cleaned off and be ready to go. I think they'll cut through the hill here, the break in the track coming up to the right, I would imagine.
Yeah, it goes over to the Patriot course here at Virginia International Raceway. A lot of great things here. The lodge you can stay at. They have the villas. There's a Oak Tree Spa. So for the wives and the families that want to come out and get a nice treated to a spa day here, a world-class karting facility, shooting range. They do a lot of police training here. They have the houses where they have the police training to go in there and learn how to go in the houses and everything. So a lot of great things here. Is just getting the word, lights out on the pace car, green flag this time by, and that's where they have to make the decision by. Timed out perfectly, Cal.
Awesome. This is going to be a shootout here for the finish. What can Johan Schwartz do? He got the perfect jump from the pole position the last time around. He needs to back up here, back everyone up through the roller coaster and just time his start to perfection, get his car in the sweet spot in the rev range and make sure he gets good clean acceleration off.
Oh, and you can see him looking in that rearview mirror too. You can see his head's already cocked to the right looking up, and he's watching to see as he brings him slowly down the hill here on the roller coaster.
You got to let that pace car go though, so you can't afford to jump too early. Pace car there. Where's Kozarov? You don't see Kozarov. There he is, trying to crack a gap so he can get good acceleration too.
And Johan did go. Steve Streamer did not fall for that dummy. He stays with him. Vesko Kozarov right on the back of those two BMWs as Johan gets a good run on the start into our acceleration zone and back under green as the teammates Matt Travis, green and white at the start straight.
Perfectly managed there by Johan Schwartz. Mega job there. Streamer did a nice job as well. Then the two BMWs are fighting it out. Kozarov looking for more as the BMWs go side by side down into turn one. Kozarov looks to the inside of Travis. Can he get that Nissan hooked up as we see Riga go for a ride, I think?
Yeah, just a little bit off too fast down there in the turn number one. He's going to recover, but to go back to the end of the line right behind Foreign in 12th.
What can Kozarov do? I think that's the big battle for the fourth position that may materialize here, as Schwartz can't afford to get too conservative here. Streamer has a very fast race car as Kozarov now putting the pressure on Travis.
Yeah, that car has got the motor down the backstretch. If he can stay with him through turn number 12, Streamer right on the back bumper of Johann Schwartz now. Battle for first, but battle for second or third, fourth, and fifth as well.
Wow, look at Streamer putting the pressure on. Johann Schwartz is under pressure here. He's got to hang on for dear life. Keep it really clean through this section. Don't drop a wheel and really focus on a good, clean apex and traction off of Oak Tree for the final time.
Yeah, come down the hill here into that braking zone. He's going to try to get a good run down the straightaway. That Nissan 370Z has legs down the straight here. Can he make a move, get the good draft? The same thing with Kozarov. He's got two BMWs in front of him. He's going to come down here as he tries to get a little bit of breathing room, maybe help cool that car off.
Kozarov has a good draft going on Travis. He looks to the right-hand side, but will that be the right side when they get to the brake zone for the roller coaster? Kozarov clears him. Kozarov up to fourth. Here comes Streamer.
Oh, just not enough room to get it done down the straightaway, and I think that was going to be his last chance to do it as Vesco lays it deep down there at turn number 13, trying to see if he can make a move and get that final podium spot.
Johann Schwartz, can he hang on? Can he keep it clean through Hogpen?
Down the hill, they get that little undulation in the bump, and then onto the straightaway. Don't think anybody has anything left as they're going to go how they finish here. Johann Schwartz will get the win today. Steve Streamer, superb run for that Tech Sport Racing Nissan 370Z in second, but at the line it was Johann Schwartz, Carl Whitmer, Vesco Kozarov, and Matt Travis completing your top five.
Yeah, great little shootout there at the end. That was awesome stuff. Hats off to Johann for keeping it cool. A lot of pressure there from Steve Streamer, though. He had a really fast race car at the end of this one. Fastest lap of the race. Brumman to 202.652. He'll have pole position for race 2 tomorrow.
Best part about that, you see the top 3, top 4 cars there. Not a mark on them from banging or beating or anything during this race. Nice, good, clean race for all of our top competitors here in touring car.
Race, had that reset, had to maintain the pace and keep it clean, didn't make any mistakes. I think he got that start initially and thought he could just be a little bit conservative, but Streamer was on a charge there and suddenly had to reset and refocus and make sure he maintained the pace over that closing lap there to close the deal.
If there's any consolation, Steve Streamer will start second on the grid there tomorrow, so nice front row starting position as well. Mark Brumman able to get your fastest race lap at 202.652.
There's 7 or 8 cars, Jeff, within 0.2 of a second for their fastest lap, so bodes well for another great battle tomorrow for those top spots.
Now, Johann Schwartz, your TCB champion, now moving into the touring car category, the top level here for TC. We'll see if he can parlay that into another championship, as doing pretty good in the points now, and that was the best part about that was his competitor, Vesco Kozarov, that swept the Dakota weekend, was only able to get a 4th place, so he'll gain a little bit of points on Vesco here this weekend.
Yeah, he should basically halve that gap. As a 12-point gap coming in with the Rivera not competing. He's going to drop down the order a little bit, obviously, so a shame to not see Tony competing this weekend, but yeah, a good weekend so far for Johann Schwartz. Have to battle hard tomorrow. He's a little bit further back on the grid. I think he'll probably line up about 5th or 6th.
Watch the field come down here. As you can see, Henry Schmidt, boy, he's been on a tear here this weekend, getting a podium finish in our GTS AM category in the Sprint X in the number 87, but he's our hard charger of the race award, earning that VP award, picking up 4 positions overall in the race here. So another great day for Henry Schmidt in the touring car class. So he's going to go out on a high here, the owner of BMW of San Francisco, and that's Steve Cameron Racing BMW.
Lots of great performances there. Everyone gave it their all. Some good fast laps, some guys a little bit deeper in the finishing order, and some great battles all day long. Shame for Jeff Rieker down towards the bottom side of that top 10, 9th position with a couple of offs, but nonetheless it was a great performance by him here today, battling up in the podium spots initially in this race.
Yeah, his finish doesn't really justify how good he did today, being up there at that top of the field, but the man of the hour right now, sorry, the man of the 40 minutes, Johann Swartz in that West Virginia University BMW M235i Racing here, Rooster Hall Racing down there with his team. And Steve Streamer, just an amazing run for him, earning his first podium in Pirelli World Challenge competition in that Nissan 370Z, the Streamer Steel machine from Tech Sport Racing. Johann getting all the cables and hookups undone from his car, and Gino Carini will be down there to interview him and see what he thinks as he gets up on that roll cage and celebrates his race win here today. See all the Tech Sport Racing team with 6 cars, a lot of drivers, a lot of crew. They're out there helping him out. Carl Whitmer in a borrowed car. Darren Jorgensen, great job from him loaning that car to Carl Whitmer. He's able to reward that good deed with a 3rd place and podiums finish here today. Eric Meyer, the crew chief from Rooster Hall Racing, there with Johann. Johann will get that helmet off, and Gino Carini will be down there with him.
Hey,
Gino, you got our race winner today.
I've got him, Johann Swartz, my friend.
Oh, my.
What a race.
Well, you know.
How much pressure were you underneath? And now promise me you're going to make this brief.
Yeah, I will make it very brief. Man, I tell you, this was a heck of a race. I was hoping that caution was going to take a little bit longer because a one-lap shootout against one of those Nissans. But the crew, Rooster Hall, Instromart, everybody from Diamond Creek Water, what an absolute performance. I can't thank Todd for the opportunity to put me in this car and give him his first victory in pro racing. That is so awesome. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you, Johann. Congratulations.
Well, Gino Carini, of course, razzing him a little bit from that interview when he did his victory celebration for his TCB championship at the banquet. It was about a 10 or a 15-minute podium award presentation for himself and his speech. And I said, look, we're a sprint race format here, Johann. But looking at our results for Virginia International Raceway in the TC category, Johann Swartz able to get the win in his BMW M235i Racing. Steve Streamer in that Tech Sport Racing Nissan 370Z in 2nd. Carl Whitmer, the Canadian, finishes in 3rd in that classic BMW M235i. And Vesko Kozarov into 4th, started from last. Good run for him. And Matt Travis rounding out your top 5 in that BMW.
Yeah, and great to see so many brands represented up there in the top 10 with the Genesis having a strong day. Certainly the Nissan had the pace there all over Johann Swartz, who won for BMW. So it's really the balance of performances pretty equal there, and everyone is in with a shout. It seems it should be a great battle here tomorrow.
Going to shuffle up tomorrow based on the lap times, too, with the fastest race laps, with Mark Brumham getting the fastest race lap at 2:02.652, starting from pole, but a 13th place finish here today, Cal.
Yeah, it's a shame to see him drop down the order so far, but he's certainly got pace, and he'll be excited tonight, sleeping on what will be pole position for the start of race 2 here tomorrow.
Well, I just want to give a huge thank you to all the fans watching live at world-challenge.com and the Pirelli World Challenge fan app. I want to thank everybody for joining us here today. Don't forget, tomorrow we still got 4 more races to go with GT, GTS, Sprint X, TC, TCR, TCA, all part of the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Virginia, presented by Audi Sport. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see everybody here again tomorrow. For Gino Carini, Ryan Marine, Calvin Fish, I'm Jeff Lepper. Thanks for sticking around.